get your business news now with Rofhiwa Madzena. Hi, Rofhiwa. So this is worrying because it's all going to take more from our pockets, and it's the input costs that producers are battling with.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Sally. It's just because of that high food and fuel prices that we've been seeing over the last few months, and it's actually going to get worse because it's costing more and more to produce goods in South Africa, and it's having a direct impact on retailers as well as consumers. Now, the latest data from Stats SA reveals that producer price inflation reached a record high in June. The data indicates that the spike in input costs is a direct effect of the significantly higher food and fuel prices. Now, producers of food and other goods are now no longer able to absorb the higher costs of production. Factories may be forced to pass on to the retailers as well as consumers. PPI monitors changes in the prices of goods bought and sold by manufacturers across the country. Now, it increased by 16.2% in June year on year. Let's take a look at how your numbers ended off the day before we discuss them with Makwe Masilela, who's standing by. Let's unpack this further. We've got Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers who's standing by. Thank you very much, as always, for your time. I want to start with the overall markets before we get into some company updates, Makwe. The local bourse not ending off the day on a great note. Of course, I just saw that GDP data came out from the United States, 0.9% down. I mean, that's the world's biggest economy that's not doing too great. That might benefit the rand, but the local bourse could feel it.
Definitely, and good afternoon to you and the viewers. To think that we opened up nicely over 1%, so unfortunately we had to give back most of those gains, and that's after we got that GDP number from the US. We need to remember that the common definition of a recession is what we've just seen in the US, that we've got 2 quarters where the economy is not growing, and I think markets now, even if you look overseas, including the US markets, they're thinking that, listen, that's in the past. They're looking forward what needs to happen. Remember, the market started the day trying to digest the issues about that 0.75% increase when it comes to the US interest rates. But for me, of a concern is that that was expected, all priced in, and yes, going forward, the guys couldn't give a guidance. But I think the markets got comfort from the fact that the Fed, it was more or less hawkish, but Rofhiwa was concerning. The guys commented that, listen, we will maybe come September look at doing a larger than usual rate increase depending on data. And my thinking is 0.75, that has been done twice. This should be usual. So does it mean that if economic data continues to weaken, then probably maybe we'll get anything more than that? And maybe markets are also interpreting this as, listen, GDP numbers not good, probably that will help or try to get some sanity to prevail when it comes to the US Fed, that the US economy is not that great. Maybe we don't have to continue to increase aggressively the way they've been doing so far. Hence, markets are up.
So let's talk about some company updates now. AB InBev, I mean, their Q2 earnings really beating expectations there. And the highlight there, Makwe, was the fact that they benefited the most from beer drinkers, people really enjoying their beer instead of a hot chocolate in winter.
Definitely, and regardless, the guys also had to increase prices to offset high cost, but guys continue to consume. And I think all the markets did well other than China because of the lockdown restrictions, but also of interest is that we've seen that their non-beer volumes, I mean, they've been up almost 8.2% as well. And their profits up 15%, I guess that's not bad. And the guys, they're fortunate that they're still able to increase prices in these tough economic conditions.
What about Pepkor? What did you make of their numbers? So they have shared the same sentiment that Mr. Price did when they released their update, saying that those 350 Rand grants, Makwe, were absolutely important for sales, and the last few months without them have been felt and seen in their numbers, despite it being a solid business that still does rather well.
Definitely, especially for May and June, they felt that, and also load shedding had an impact. But the guys didn't do badly, especially for 3 months, because they managed to increase sales by over 5.1% for 3 months, and as well managed to open new stores, I think 57 of them. So Pep and Ackermans now that's standing at almost 3,505 stores. But also when you look, when it comes to the building material, we know people are no longer buying from that side. It was not surprising to see sales being down by 1.9%. But remember the business that they bought in Brazil, I think it was around February, managed to increase their sales by 51%, and they expect that business to contribute almost 2% this current financial year to their revenue and 4% in the next financial year.
And then TFG, Makwe, they're benefiting from the easing completely of the lockdown restrictions, people going out and shopping at their stores again, but also encouragingly for investors, the Competition Tribunal giving a conditional approval of its buying of Choreographed.
And I think another highlight for me there is that their sales were up nicely, 16.3%. Yes, the Foschini Group Africa did remarkably well, exceeding expectations, but also of interest, look at their cash sales. They are contributing almost 68.8%, to the whole sales, total sales. And I think the environment where interest rates are going up, you need more of cash sales more than anything. And also they are online doing okay, now contributing almost 9.7%. But with them as well, the 350 had an impact, load shedding had an impact, the weaker currency had an impact, and also high inflation is affecting consumer spending. And also in the UK, we continue to see high inflation that continues to impact them.
Makwe, as always, thank you very much for your time this evening. That is Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers, giving us a wrap of your market day. And that's all your business for now, Sally.